After the last video on speed versus RPM, a lot of you guys showed interest in first service and cost involved in getting the BMW G310R serviced. So even I thought of sharing the complete service experience along with the cost breakdown for each service that was carried out on the R. Like most motorcycles, the recommended first service for the 310 is programmed at 1000 kilometers or 1 month, whichever comes first. So every time you turn on the ignition before the 1000 kilometers of the upcoming service, the instrumental console reminds you of the kilometers left in increments of 100 kilometers. I booked a weekend service appointment in the morning slot, although no photo and videography is allowed inside the workshop, but they did allow me inside the service area and I was present there for the whole time. Now let's consider the bill, then we can discuss the jobs carried out along with the cost involved. We will divide this into two sections. First we will start with the consumables and parts, and later we will discuss the heart attack, the labor charges. The service began with oil change. BMW India uses 15W50 Advantech Pro for their 310 series of motorcycles. There will be a separate video on this oil's grade selection and performance. For now we have the price where I was charged Rs 1692 for 2 liters of oil, of which 150ml remained, which I was offered back. Next comes the gasket ring, which is a kind of crush washer used for the drain bolt, for which they charged Rs 107.20. The oil filter was also replaced, for which they charged Rs 246.61. And finally the chain was lubricated after thorough cleaning and they charged Rs 394.07 for the chain spray. They used this chain spray from BMW. This is a new can that was opened and used on my bike, and they returned the leftover to me, which I think is a good practice. They also said that I can bring my own chain spray for the next service and I won't be charged for the chain spray in the consumables. So this was the list of all consumables and parts, which totaled up to Rs 2879 after taxes, which I think is okay as almost all the products used here are made in Germany and imported to India. Of course, BMW can reduce this cost to an extent by using made in India consumables, as the bike itself is made in India. Now coming to the service and labor charge, we will begin this with the BMW running check that costed me Rs 1143.36. In this they inspect the complete motorcycle and retorque all the critical nuts and bolts. I saw the technician using torque wrench and vernier caliper to retorque and measure stuff on the motorcycle. I have already mentioned about the chain lube in the consumables, but before that the chain was thoroughly cleaned and adjusted for slack and alignment. The labor charge for that stood at Rs 381.12. Rs 190.56 was charged for the use of paddock stand, as the 310R does not get a center stand. Charging customers for the use of paddock stand is something which I think BMW could have avoided, as it does not make any sense to me. This is like charging customers for using screwdrivers and spanners on their motorcycle. Moving ahead, labor charges for engine oil and oil filter change stood at Rs 571.68. There is also a charge of 381.12 for software test, which is basically an on-body diagnostic tool that runs a check on the bike for any fault codes and sensor check. Plus the service reminder reset is also done here. Finally, we have washing, for which I was charged Rs 381.12. There is also a mention of some AZ miscellaneous job, for which I was charged Rs 190.56. All of this totals up the labor charges to 3,823 after taxes. Now for someone like me who works on his motorcycles, paying close to 4,000 rupees just for the labor charges on basic first service seems absurd. Of course, I won't be biased here or rant about the bill, as I knew this on the very day I booked my motorcycle, and I had considered Rs 10,000 extra on the on-road price for the first service, as I did not plan to void my warranty on the first month of ownership. I would have complained here if the quality of work was not up to the mark or if the workmanship was compromised. And thankfully no one from the service randomly decided to rev up my bike to red line while it was idling in neutral. Overall, I felt secured about my motorcycle in their hands. Regarding the price, most of the consumables are imported while the labor charges are majorly set by BMW Germany. Still, you will find some difference from city to city. The service advisor was transparent about the estimated service cost and did not push me for any added service. And as promised, my motorcycle key was handed back to me in just 3 hours. So this was my experience, which can differ from individual to individual. And now that we are done with the first service, there is a lot of interesting stuff lined up for the R, so keep a check on the channel. So that's it for this video, and I hope you guys have liked it.